What's going on YouTube? JT Born here, and welcome back to another edition of After the Movie. Happy post-Thanksgiving, and now it's time to get back to talking about some films. And in today's video, I'm going to be discussing Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. This is actually my first time ever watching this movie. This video is for Sir Big Jack Films. We were talking about I'd go see a movie and then he'd see another movie. It's kind of something that we did before. I think I did like 2 different Zorro movies, and I did Three Musketeers, and then I got him to watch King Arthur Legend of the Sword, so I got the last laugh there. But once again, I'll be talking about this one. He's going to talk about something, and then so look forward to that. So shout out to you, Big Jack Films. Subscribe to Jack's YouTube channel if you haven't already. But anyways, with that said, let's talk about Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. So apparently this movie was a really big hit when it came out. I looked it up. I think it was the second highest grossing film of 1991, right behind Terminator 2 Judgment Day, which, you know, T2 was a really good movie. And so yeah, all these years later, I finally got around to checking this thing out. It stars Kevin Costner. We have Morgan Freeman, Christian Slater, Mary Elizabeth, I can't even pronounce her last name. And of course, we have the truly best part of this movie, which is Alan Rickman, who just, by God, was he great. He was by far my favorite part of this movie. It's definitely a 90s movie. There's some good action towards the third act. There's some moments that definitely do drag. It's not a perfect movie or a 10 out of 10 thing by any stretch of the means, but I had fun with it. It does drag on a bit. Some of the performances aren't really great. Some are fantastic, like Rickman, of course. He is amazing. And then we have Kevin Costner in the lead role as whose accent, let's just say, Kevin Costner's had better roles before. He is pretty miscast here as Robin Hood. Every time he started talking and whatever accent he was trying to pull off, it's like he wanted to do an English accent, but he was too embarrassed of it, so he kind of held off and just did something else. Now, I've seen Kevin Costner, play good roles in other things, but here I think he was miscast. I've seen actually a few Robin Hood movies too. I talked about the 2018 film on the channel. There was the Disney film Men in Tights, which is probably my personal favorite. And every time Costner started talking, I just kept thinking back to Carrie Always going, because unlike some other Robin Hoods, I can speak with an English accent. Just a funny jab at him and his performance in this thing. There was the 2010 one with Russell Crowe. God, I can't even speak right now. Sorry, I'm trying to get over a sickness, so I apologize if I'm sounding kind of rough and stuffy during this video. It's the first time I was like, okay, gonna watch this thing and record this video and hopefully not just keel over in the middle of it. But yeah, there was the Ridley Scott one with Russell Crowe, and now that I think about it, if you're going to be casting Robin Hood, make sure it's an actor who you don't cast to play Superman's dad, because between Russell Crowe as Jor-El and Kevin Costner as Jonathan Kent in Man of Steel, they both were pretty mediocre as Robin Hood. Russell Crowe is a bit better, but Kevin Costner definitely wasn't very good in this thing. He was very miscast as Robin Hood in this thing. That said, there's some highlights for this thing for sure. The production value is quite good. The score by Michael Kamen, I never realized that was the Morgan Creek theme because I hadn't really seen this thing before, but it's a very catchy thing. It was do-do-do, do. I always heard that music before I would watch Ace Ventura growing up, because that's just the logo or the theme for Morgan Creek in that. But that was fun. Like, the score was definitely like a highlight in this thing. The rest of the cast members, Morgan Freeman does fine. Christian Slater is okay. But like I said, it's Rickman who really steals the show in this thing, and he's a lot of fun. Then of course he had his little like main henchman who talks like this the whole time. I think he was also in Three Musketeers, which, by the way, from what I've heard, a lot of the people who worked on this film went on to work on Disney's Three Musketeers, which is a movie I also talked about. So you can check a link into the description for my thoughts on that one. That was another one I requested by Jack. I think Jack has me watching a lot of these like sword medieval type movies. So, but yeah, the story this time around, it's kind of like what you would expect from a Robin Hood movie. There is no Prince John this time around, so I think they took a lot of those characteristics and kind of incorporated them into the Sheriff of Nottingham, Rickman's performance. But basically, Robin Hood escapes, or Robin Loxley escapes from his little prison. Morgan Freeman's says he owes a life debt to him. Until he can repay that, he's going to be by his side. He comes back home, finds it's been overtaken by Nottingham, while King Richard, played by Sean Connery, surprisingly, towards the end of the movie. A nice little cameo. While King Richard's off doing his thing, Robin Hood comes back, and he's got to try and stop Nottingham. Then he's got to save Maid Marian, and then just kind of save all sorts of people and form a little bond and everything. But basically, like I said, Rickman's the bad guy. While the king is away, he's trying to, play for power. Everyone else is kind of dealing with some shit. They're starving. They don't have enough money. The Sheriff of Nottingham is just a real asshole, and he is just so deliciously evil in this thing. He's such a jerk. One of my favorite bits in the movie was after Loxley kind of escapes at one point. He just he takes out his aggression on one of his henchmen. He just starts like punching him repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly. It just kept going. It was just kind of comedic. Or when he's frustrated, he's talking about taking food away from the poor, no merciful hangings anymore, and call off Christmas. That line in particular just cracked me up. And then, of course, at the end of the movie, he's trying to wed Maid Marian, and basically he gets locked. He kidnaps her, locks her in a tower. They're trying to, like, Robin Hood and Morgan Freeman are trying to break down the door, and he's trying to give the ceremony with the bishop or cardinal or whatever it is, and he's like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Oh yes, she does totally love me and all that stuff. It's kind of like one of those Beetlejuice moments where he's trying to force Lydia to marry him, but this one's a lot more dark and sadistic. But it's also really funny too. Like, he's doing some bad things, but you can't help but laugh at what he's doing. Then after going through his whole wedding thing, he's trying to knock her up immediately, because if Robin Hood's going to come through here, he's going to get the last laugh. And so he's trying to force himself onto the marriage. She's fighting him back. And this should be a very dark, horrifying scene. But the way it's directed and the way Rickman plays it, it's darkly funny. At one point, he takes a pillow and just puts her, he's forcing himself on her. But he's not that much. He still has the decency to put a pillow like behind her head and stuff during the middle of it. That had to have been improv, because I don't know. I can't. It's just the way it was done. He's such a jerk, but even then, he still grabs a pillow and puts it behind her head. That was really funny, and just little bits like that really cement this performance as one of Rickman's best. I loved him in Die Hard, but this one, he is absolutely phenomenal as the villain in this thing. He makes the movie. Kind of like how Tim Curry made the movie in the Disney Three Musketeers thing. You just got to have an actor who can, like, chew scenery, but also be an asshole, but also just be really funny at the same time. That's Rickman for me in this thing. Other things to know about this thing: the production value is really good. They shot this thing on location. It's real sets, real locations. There's some decent action, especially towards the third act. There's some things that do hold the movie back. It certainly is a long movie. I think it's 2.5 hours long. You definitely start to feel the link towards the middle of this thing, where the pacing kind of comes to a bit of a halt. But it just kind of dragged a bit. Some of the actors aren't up to par with Rickman. I think Rickman is easily the best part of this movie. But other actors, like Christian Slater, he's just kind of okay. We find out that he is Robin Hood's brother, which is kind of interesting, I guess. It's just whatever. It kind of showcases his resentment towards him. Costner is not that great in the role. It's the accent. It's like he was embarrassed. He tried to do an English accent, but he was kind of embarrassed of it. And then he just kind of did something weird in between. It just felt really off-putting throughout this. And I've seen Kevin Costner act good in other things. Just this one, not so much. Morgan Freeman, that man never has a bad performance. He's pretty good in this thing. And Connery, when he shows up at the end, was kind of cool to see him do something. That was a nice surprise in that too. But all things considered, I did enjoy this thing overall. I don't love it. It's not something I would really go back to and watch over and over again. Maybe if I grew up watching this thing, it could be like one of those movies that's like a favorite, like a childhood favorite. But even though I had the VHS, I just never really bothered to until recently. I finally got around to it, thanks to Big Jack Films, so go ahead and check out his channel and subscribe and all that other stuff. And now I can check this one off the list of older movies that were big hits that I had never actually seen. So What will happen next? What am I going to talk about next in terms of stuff like this? I don't know, but in time we'll see. But I do like going and checking out things that are a little bit older that I'd never seen before. I think that's part of the fun, especially if they were big hits at the time, and I can see why this was a big hit at the time. There's some good action towards the end. Rickman, of course, is fantastic, and you had some big stars in it too. So, and it's not like we were flooded with superhero movies at the time. I mean, we had Batman '89, and Batman Returns hadn't come out just yet, but it was a different time for movies. A movie like this, like a Robin Hood movie, wouldn't make much money in today's day and age, as we've come to find out with the 2018 film where they tried to set it up as this big cinematic universe. Audience tastes were very different back then, so you could make just an obscure movie like this become a massive hit. Whereas in today's day and age, an adaptation of Robin Hood just wouldn't make very much money. I think that time has passed. So this is a nice little time capsule of the era and stuff. So anyways, I think that's all I really have to say. I'm trying to get over a sickness right now, and it's still kind of kicking my ass. So I think I'm going to go ahead and end this video right now. But just to say thank you. I hope everybody had a very good Thanksgiving and everyone's doing well and all that other fun stuff. I'm going to get going. I'm going to take another sinus pill or something right now, just trying to fight this thing. But I just wanted to make this video, and yeah, I'm kind of at a loss for words right now. Not sure where I'm going to go with this thing, but just wanted to say thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. Hope everyone has a good day, and come back for more stuff in time. I don't know what the next video is going to be. I mean, I got comic book reviews coming out next week, but in terms of other stuff, you'll just have to wait and see. Stuff is on the horizon, so once I'm feeling more better. But all right, well, that's all I got to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.